Good evening, folks. Welcome back. It's me, Fluent Code, here live on Twitch and YouTube in the UK, where it is absolutely glorious. Now, I do warn you that I have to have my windows open because this is very hot and stuffy, and I am sat directly in front of my PC. So, for my sake, I am having the windows open. It's very important this time of year. And I also have a bit of a tickly throat, so I've got a cough suite in. And obviously this throat thing is bugging the hell out of me. So we are back from our day off, where we absolutely did not take photographs and post pictures of, do you know what? I'm going to have to take the lucky hat, and you're going to have to put up with my just ready for cutting hair. So I do apologise about that. Yeah, it's too warm for that nonsense. Yeah, did not get a chance to post any pictures, unfortunately. The reason being is because finally on Facebook Marketplace I saw an opportunity to upgrade my PC without having to do too much work to it. So I have upgraded the CPU, I have upgraded the motherboard. You know, we are fully in the 2019 era now, rather than, is this the first time I've opened it? Have I got? No, can't be. It just felt like it was opening funny, that's all. Yes, I haven't upgraded to a current sort of gen's worth of computing. That would be far too modern for a man like me. What I have upgraded to is a 9th gen Intel chip. It means absolutely nothing, really, does it? But hopefully it will provide me with some good, reliable service, and we will have a platform that we can improve upon as necessary, or not as needs be. But yeah, so unfortunately I spent all my time doing that, and I didn't get a chance to to go ahead and take pictures for the Instagram and what have you. So it is still on the menu, it will still get done, but it will be a little way off before we do that. Now, I say a little way off, I am hoping that I will get something done over the weekend, because that's where we are now into the weekend, another weekend. Can you believe how fast this year is going? Couple of days, well, not even a couple of days, and it will be June. It'll be the 6th month of the year, halfway through. 50%. It's 50% of 12. 6 months. Can you believe it? I can't believe it. I do struggle to believe how quickly this year is flying by. It's always the same. It's not always the same. That's the thing. This year in particular does appear to be absolutely flying past. I appear to be a bit messy with my yellow today. That's not good, is it, folks? Sorry, and I'm not painting on stream again. I'm way off. Look, we have got our center marker there. We need to be a bit careful about getting over it. And because I have changed my settings, I believe I believe, let me just have a look. Let me just see. Ah, yes. We have had a little bit of a zoom out. We've had a little bit of a zoom out, folks. Let's zoom us in a little bit to there. And let's see how that's a bit better, isn't it? That's a bit better. Now, I think I'm going to try, I know previously when we did this, we just did one sort of solid thick coat of this paint. I think we're going to try and get a couple of thin coats of this on. Yeah, we'll go for a couple of thin coats this time. And unfortunately, this first model that I've picked doesn't have any other yellow details on him. Although that is quite a nice yellow colour, isn't it? I do like that colour. Yeah, there's no other details that we can turn to yellow on there, but that's fine for now. Oh, I've got a bit of thin sort of paint going on there as well. Right, we will do these in multiple thin coats. So what I'm going to do is I will start with our first squad. Do we remember these guys? Does anybody remember these guys? Way back in the day when we first started painting, we had this squad here. These lasgun dudes with their ancient Eldar lasgun weapons. Well, they are our, I think this is going to be our secondary Guardian squad, because the first Guardian squad is probably going to be the Shuriken catapults, isn't it? Now, I have been a little bit neglectful there in that I have managed on both of those models to get a tiny little bit onto the blue, but see, look, I'm running off to the side again. I will endeavour to correct that when we come to actually paint the blue. I suppose it would be easier if I did just try and not get it on there, but you know, we'll work our way round to neatness eventually. It has been an absolute scorcher of a day here in the UK. I've been out on the road for a lot of it. Off down into Ilford this morning in the Great London area. Or I'm just looking at my camera there, and I do think maybe a little bit off with that zoom in. See what I mean about a tickle in my throat? No, I think the two coats of yellow is going to prove quite nice. Now I'm going to have to do something about this guy's weapon. Originally I thought I was going to paint them all in brown. And then highlight them all up, because that would be a nice, responsible thing to do, to teach you how to paint properly, doing it the right way. Yeah, I've decided I'm not doing that. I'm not doing it the right way. That's silly and kind of torturous, because the recipe that I had for doing it that way involved like 5 coats of paint, which ain't nobody got time for that, as a certain meme would like you to believe. Hopefully this guy's eyes are going to actually show up, because that eye detail is extremely shallow there, isn't it? Right. These are lovely relaxed miniatures to paint. On the plus side though, I did actually, while I was out and about today, I managed to get a working key for the Range Rover. Oh my god, yay! It's been hell of frustrating up until now, because the remotes on the key don't work. So while I was out today, I say remotes, I've got one, and the remote didn't work. So I still only have one key, but now the remote does work with the addition of a proper battery. Unfortunately, you can't just swap out the batteries. They are soldered in. There's no terminals for them. They have to be soldered in, otherwise they won't work with the PCB. So I have that now. Yay for me. With the mere addition of some expertise, someone else's, and 20 British pounds, I have solved my access problem. Right, so nice easy thing to ease us into the weekend, with a hectic schedule this weekend. Yeah, hectic indeed. So, tomorrow is D&D day, which means a whole day spent in town. It's a lovely day, it really is, but it's exhausting. So, when I get home tomorrow evening, I don't know if I will actually have the stamina left inside me to stream. So, we'll see once I get back. As far as Sunday goes, now booked a day out at a steam museum, which would be lovely. Me and the little one are going to go off for a daddy-daughter day. Let mummy have a break after the half term. Daddy-daughter day. Nice bit of lunch. Sounds like heaven. Yeah, these guys are going to be quite hard to make sure that we've actually got the eye details to pick up on. That it seems all right as it dries off, but they are very, very shallow under the primer and dry brush. I do seem to recall that was a little bit of a problem with them originally, but maybe not quite that badly. Okay, that's going to be very frustrating, and I do apologise. Unfortunately, there's not an awful lot I can do apart from shut the window, and quite frankly, I'm not going to do that. I would sooner you guys told me where to get off, rather than sit here in absolute discomfort because the dogs are barking. Right, so these squads are quite small, to be honest with you. I say small, they're not. They're nine-man squads, which are actually fairly reasonable sized. But They do go quite quickly, which is a plus point. Is he wearing a sash? He is wearing a sash. I can make use of that sash to paint some yellow through there as well. Stand by. So tomorrow is the next phase of Waterdeep Dragon Heist. I am so looking forward to some action. Don't get me wrong, I like the political intrigue side of things, but I am 100% ready for some beating up of some NPCs. Because so far we had a fairly active first section, first section of the campaign. There was a nice mix of social encounters, politics, that sort of thing. And then we've had a very, very quiet second phase. Apparently, owning a tavern is, despite what all the pub landlords will tell you, is not, in fact, a recipe for combat encounters. Oh, damn it. I am going to have to be more careful with these base paints. They are got quite a lot of opacity. They've got some really good coverage, and even though I've watered it down, that one there, for example, has just straight up covered that blue with the yellow. Like no if, no buts, no coconuts. That has covered quite comprehensively. I want to try, if possible, as much of that yellow as possible. It's about as far as I think I'm going to be able to get. Ohana Hobby Workshop. Hi there, welcome to the stream. Thank you very much for the raid, very much appreciate it. How are you? How was your stream? Hope you had a good one. Right. Yeah, we're going to pop that one to one side for a minute. Although he hasn't got a helmet, so he is slightly the odd one out there. Oh. Sorry, I have something up my eye which is bugging me a little bit. It must be this heat. So we have to be quite careful with these guys, because like I say, the helmets in particular appear, it's probably my fault, because I can't remember if I stripped these. I don't think I did. I think I just painted them straight over whatever very thin coat I had painted on last time. And whilst it was a very thin coat of paint that they had on there last time, I think it was basically just an undercoat and a contrast paint. Obviously that is then undercoat with a contrast paint with another undercoat with a primer over the top. There's actually quite a bit going on there now, so I've been really lazy, and it's left the detail sitting really lazy on the model. It is showing up once the coat of yellow dries, but I will have to be careful to keep these to very, very thin coats. So you can see as I'm using the wet palette, I am making sure that they are nicely watered down. Because otherwise we'll just end up filling in all that lovely yummy detail that Jez Goodwin left for us. I think these were Jez Goodwin sculpts anyway. I did say that I was going to double check the other day. I do love working my way through Oldhammer models and catalogues and what have you to find little tidbits of information and bits that were missed. And I have ordered another back issue on my collection of white dwarfs. I think I've ordered issue 171 or 172. I think that's the next one that I was missing out on. Once it got to a certain point where it was clear that I wouldn't benefit from new issues of White Dwarf, which is quite a while ago to be fair, I started bulking out my old. Let me just have a look. Did I buy that one the other day? I'll have to double check. I think it was 171 that I bought. So either 171 or 172. As I said, thank you for bearing with me. That was my throat sweet now gone, so throat's feeling fine. Now I've got a sticky eye, and I don't know what's causing that. Hope it's not hay fever. I've never had hay fever, to my knowledge. Right, so hopefully once we get everyone with a touch of yellow on them as well, the army's going to look like a much more cohesive whole. So the fact that I didn't take pictures the other day isn't going to matter as much, because when I take pictures of these guys with all the yellow on them as well, then I'm going to look proper boss in it. Hello, Majar. Sorry if you posted that a little while ago. Have I got timestamps? I haven't got timestamps on. I don't know when you posted that. When did you post that? How do I tell? Can I see? No. How are you? How the devil are you? I hope you're keeping well. As you can tell, I am still working on my Eldar. We have quite a pile of these guys to work through now. And we are slowly but surely getting to something that looks... Been mowing at work. Oh wow, okay. Is that what you do? Are you a grass mower, or is that something that you've been doing? Seeing who was on while I was off and seeing it on. Yeah, excellent. Not normally, okay. I have done a bit of landscaping before myself, and I actually quite enjoy, you know, hanging off the back of a mower and up and down, putting stripes on somebody's lawn, that sort of thing. Which reminds me, I really must do my own lawn. I'll see if I can get that done before I go out on Sunday. Okay, whereabouts, your maintenance, okay. Whereabouts do you work? What is it you do? I work in the construction industry, so maintenance and the like is quite interesting to me. I'm always fascinated by how people around the world do things differently. Okay, that's cool. Includes a whole bunch of non-building, yeah. Yeah, I'm just gonna maintain the lawns by mowing them. It's all maintenance. yeah, like I say, it fascinates me how construction and things like that are done across the world. Speaking to different people about, you know, their projects and how they're doing things, and yeah, I quite enjoy that. Right, I am going to bite the bullet. I am going to bite the bullet, and oh, hold on, that looks, no, that's, I'm gonna start to put some colour on this guy. I have wanted to paint this guy for nearly 30 years. This is my first ever time, and I've already fucked it up. Never mind. This is my first ever time painting this model. Which is just so satisfying to me. Finally I get a chance to paint this guy. I don't know if maybe this brush is becoming a little bit uncontrollable on the tip now. It's not got much of a point to it. Let me try this one. It's a much smaller brush, but it should be a lot more controllable. Although it doesn't appear to belly as well. Like I said, when I was undercoating this one, I was really disappointed by these two big, almost impossible to remove mold lines that I never actually noticed while I was prepping the model. But look where they sit, right across that eye lens. It's going to be almost impossible to detail them out. If you sand them, you'll remove the detail of the eye lens. Really, really frustrating. Oh well, we will persevere on through. We will get by without worrying too much about things that we cannot change. We'll change the things we can change, but the things we can't change, don't sweat them. I've found that to be quite good life advice that somebody gave me many a year ago. Don't sweat what you can't change. Change what you can. Don't sweat what you can't. Of course, I realise, you know, when I'm sitting here trying to explain stuff like that, just how cliched it actually sounds. So what we will do with this yellow, I like to talk through the recipes that I'm using. This yellow, we will see if we require a second thin coat. To be honest with you, the coverage on that, look how vibrant that yellow is just on the one coat. I might say about another very, very thin coat on there. But I think that that might well be enough, that it doesn't need anything else. We will then come along with a bit of contrast. We use a what, I can't remember what yellow it is. Iandan yellow, something like that. Nasdreg yellow, one of them. And we will use that to shade all of this yellow very sparingly. We don't want to end up with like coffee stains or anything. And then we will come back and highlight up using our newly acquired demonic yellow. It's the Army Painter product range. Now I need to quite carefully pick what colours we're going to do where on this guy, and I think this little tassel here by his shoulder is another prime candidate for a bit of yellow. We're not going to go too mad on it. We don't want to put too much yellow on him, and we do still need to figure out a colour for their like funky jackets. So everyone who's wearing some form of jacket, this guy, the weapons platform guys, the jet bike guys, all of them will have the same sort of colour jacket, apart from the scouts. The scouts will get their own, and the scouts will get green because they're scouts. That's how scouts work. They dress in green, of course. Don't you know? Okay. These guys are progressing quite nicely. Now, these will not be quite so easy, but they're also not particularly complicated, because the only bit of yellow that I am painting on these guys is right in on their helmets. There's an inner helmet and an outer helmet that these guys have, like a faceplate. We've got a tiny bit of yellow there, just enough left there for an eye socket, and then a tiny bit of yellow on this side as well. Oh, damn it. Whew, saved the day. be very accurate with this bit, haven't we? Well, so accurate, I'm not sure that you guys are going to be able to see that. Okay, tiniest bit of yellow. Wow. And the rest of it, no yellow whatsoever. Greens, browns, for ammo pouches, that sort of thing. Very similar look on this one. We've got the same sort of thing going on with this side. And then just again the same on this side, just the tiniest bit more over here, but harder to actually get to because of the way everything is oriented. It's very small detail. I've still got to paint an eye lens socket thing in there, which is going to be quite fun, isn't it? Now this guy, for this guy, the only thing that I can see to actually paint on him in yellow, which I don't mind doing because, you know, because, is this rebreather, which is kind of cool because it actually fits in with the rest of the army. It's still a bit of yellow on him, tiniest bit of yellow on him, but it's still a bit. But all the others, like the Guardians, their helmets include rebreathers. I couldn't English there for a minute. Not that rebreather is a particularly, I don't think you'll find that in the Oxford English Dictionary. Yeah, they all have yellow face masks. It's just that they happen to be as part of their helmets. So, you know, that's cool. I can live with that. We'll paint that. What are we thinking for hair for these guys, though? I don't know. And then one final model in the squad. Whee, don't fall over. Don't be doing that. And this is about the only one where you can see almost all of his face masks. See? So, what a full face mask on these guys look like. Okay, Scout Squad, yellowed. Their cloaks will be green, as I said. So what we have now is we have these guys. Oh my god, it sounds like the neighbours' children are being murdered. How terrible. Someone should call the police. Okay. Now, I haven't actually used this brush to paint the full-size helmet, so that's going to be fairly interesting. Yeah, it's definitely not as fun painting in large areas, but these helmets aren't too bad, to be fair. Oh, there we go. Another. Yeah, that looks about all I need to do on that one. Now again, what do we do here? We've got a tiny little piece on his belt. I'm wondering if is that going to look a bit silly? I wonder if we could do like a yellow chromed sunshades. As it's just a tiny little area, I might actually experiment with that a little bit. That sound like fun? I think that sounds like terrific fun. Yeah, I think that's what we're going to do. We're going to attempt to paint like a metallic gold sun visor. We're going to try doing it without metallic paints. Try and paint it as like a chrome reflection. I've never tried this at all. I haven't ever tried this, so it's going to be kind of interesting one way or t'other. So you'll please do bear with me as we potentially mess this guy up. You won't see it this evening, I don't think. I'm going to have to do a little bit of research about how I want to paint this before I actually go balls deep, as it were. And it is actually quite a small area, so we'll see. But there's nothing else really to paint on him in yellow. That's it, that's him done. Now what there is something to paint in yellow is on this. this is not the brush for doing these. I have just decided this important fact. Yeah, this is definitely not the brush for doing areas like this. However, the paint is coming out really quite nice, so we will attempt to just get it on and then oh shit, hopefully that was dry. I think it was actually. Lucky. I forgot about this little control panel on the back side of these. There's an awful lot of spirit stones, but there's also this wee little control panel here. You see it with almost like a tiny little screen and what have you, ready to have some Eldar dude, you know, tippy tapping away on the controls, being all boss. If any of you guys do have input as far as your favourite 40k factions go, and would like to explain why it's Eldar, then feel free to start her up in chat and wind it up, let it fly, see who agrees with you, see who doesn't. So that is going to be the basic colour scheme for these platforms. Mowing still. No worries, Majar. It's nice of you to drop by anyway. But yeah, I appreciate that. That grass ain't going to mow itself. Now, this guy is probably going to be an awkward one because I don't actually know what to paint yellow. I am thinking it might be hair. I think it might be. I think it might be that this guy gets yellow hair. Is that going to look really weird? There's no sashes, no anything. I don't want to paint that because that's going to be equipment colour. So yeah, I think it's going to have to be his hair. I will have to be quite careful to try and make this look a bit more natural than the rest of the yellow. So I will come along and I will tone it back with some wash, some shade, and the highlight will go more to a sort of bone type colour rather than yellow, in order to give us the idea that it's more natural than, you know, like a thermoplastic that's coloured yellow. Wow, there's a tiny little control cable there for his eye patch doodad. So I don't think he's just, you know, a pirate with an eye patch. I think that's a targeting device for his chainsword. Which, considering that the shuriken catapult, shuriken pistol that he's got has a range of about 3 feet, it would probably be more important to have a targeting device for his chainsword rather than for his pistol. Like I say, this hair is going to be a bit of a point of contention for me. I can see nothing else on this model to paint in yellow, and I don't want to just go, oh well, he doesn't need something yellow. Not everybody in the army has something yellow, but that's the whole unifying thing about the paint scheme. Apologies for the noise in the background. I wish I had the luxury of aircon or something like that, but honestly, I will be melting if I close the window. So you're just going to have to put up with the noisy neighbours from hell. At least these ones are, you know, children enjoying themselves rather than just dogs endlessly barking. What does make me quite laugh though is we have the dogs barking on both sides, left and right, and they've taken to moaning at and about each other. Oh, they're always letting their dogs bark, and I'm like, you're the same, you do it as well. So yes, this is what it's like in the UK when it's a bit warm. Everyone has to live in each other's pockets because we don't have aircon, and we don't live like 8 miles away from our nearest neighbour. Although I kind of wish sometimes that I did. Although that would make moving to an area for a school a bit pointless if you lived 8 miles away from anybody. Now this squad, this shuriken catapult squad, appear yeah. Oh no, he's got a tiny bit of cloth on him. Has this guy got any cloth? No, he doesn't. Oh well. This one will, the only yellow in that case will be on his helmet. We'll just have to make this tiny bit of yellow special enough that nobody's left wanting more. I know my my camera settings reverted. I do hope my sound settings are all okay. Obviously I upgraded the computer. It did mess around with a few camera settings, so hopefully it hasn't completely screwed up everything on OBS, and we're still getting reasonable audio through. Well, fingers crossed. I will review the VOD on this one just to check what the audio is like. See if anything needs working on. Right. We are into the territory with these guys of requiring a second coat of this yellow. So we will make sure that we keep the details quite thin. We'll keep it very neat if possible. And then we can apply a second coat of this where it's required. That brush is an exceptionally good detail brush, but I am struggling a little bit with the larger areas on things like that helmet. So I'm going to go back to this brush. It's a different brush to the one that we were just using. But it is a bit thicker, a bit bigger, because I feel like I need more belly in the brush in order to get a nice smooth coat. Hi Deja, we are painting some second edition Eldar. What's up with you? Welcome to the chat. Thank you for joining us. See, that's a bit better. I can now actually apply a bit of paint consistently for a bit longer and get it a bit smoother. Good, I'm glad to hear it. I'm glad to hear it. What brings you to miniatures and models today then? Are you a hobbyist yourself? I've yet to meet somebody in the miniatures and models channel who isn't a hobbyist, so tell us a little bit about yourself. Painting your own, what are you painting? That's it's good to hear that somebody's keeping the hobby alive and well. Skopek destroyers. Now, I have not kept up with modern Games Workshop, much to my shame. However, I'm going to go right out on a limb here, and I'm going to make a guess that that is something Necron. Yes. Okay. I accept Necrons. Necrons are valid. Necrons came out in 2nd edition, so therefore Necrons have a place in the world. Unfortunately, the Necrons that I acknowledge are a Necron Lord, warriors, a Scarab, and a Destroyer. So I think you're good. I think you brought, you know, Destroyers into it. You're okay. What is a Skopek destroyer then? What makes it stand out? Sounds very cool. Very a very copyrightable name. So unique, and it's got, you know, current Games Workshop philosophy behind it. But what makes Skopek destroyers unique? Oh, okay. So not like the old, this is a flying thing that has a big gun destroyers then. That's cool. I like that. Nice to spice it up a little bit. So Necron's got quite a significant rework in a recent edition of the game, I feel. I think they were one of the boxed armies, so one of the two sort of main factions that came with the boxes. Obviously it's Space Marines, you know, as every edition of the game since 2nd has been Space Marines, as is only right and proper. But it's nice to see Necrons getting some love as well. That's good. That's good. Feel free, if you have it, to pop an Insta in the chat, or feel free to use the Discord links down below. And there's a Warhammer chat section where feel free to pop anything you're currently working on in there, and I'll give it a look. This guy is just going to be helmet as well. I said, what is Space Marines? One of the current edition, 2nd edition had Space Marines as its boxed army. It was Space Marines and Orcs and Gretchen at the time. The boxed set featured quite a nice couple of monopose squads of Space Marines, or a single monopose squad rather, and about 20 Orc boys and however many Gretchen as well. So it was a nice little box set. But almost all of the box games, yeah, I mean, 2nd edition was extremely long time ago. So learning about it now is probably going to be very, very niche for you at very best. However, like I say, I'm a bit stuck in the past, and I like my old game systems. So these models that I'm painting at the moment are Eldar. These all date from around about the same time. So this is these guys are from the mid-90s, early to mid-90s. Why am I not doing this on my painting handle? Why am I being such a there we go. Look, that's a whole lot easier to hold. Oh. So, how have you got into the hobby then? What's what's brought you into the hobby? Did you see something like Conquest magazine? Because that had Necrons in it as well, I think. Or were you passing a Games Workshop and you got lured in by... Oh, good. It's glad to see a fresh new recruit to the hobby. Oh, okay. Like I say, feel free to check out the Discord below. There is actually a section for other models where I've posted up some of the D&D models that I did on stream. Because before we got started on this project, I was streaming painting D&D models, and I had a great time with that. So yeah, they're a really fun little model range to paint, actually. What's going on here with my light? Why can't I get a good light on this one? What's going on here? So where are you from, Deja? Trying to work on my blending. It's really tough for me to apply on the model. The land everybody hates. Really? The land that everybody loves to hate. Oh, okay. Well, I'm not entirely sure that's true, but there is no no judgment over things like that here, unless you're American, of course, and then you are fair game, but only for gentle teasing. So, how easy is it to get? Forgive me. How easy is it to get Games Workshop models in Israel? Then, is it? You know, have you just walked down to your local Warhammer shop, or is it a case of you've got to go online and get things shipped? I don't know if there is a physical presence. Oh, you have. Oh, that is fantastic. Look at that, a little company from the UK, and they got 2 big shops in Israel. That's hard to believe, really. Oh. I can remember when I first started in the hobby. in White Dwarf, we can hang out there, play, paint, and just... Oh, no, that's really good. Really, really good. I like to hear that. I can remember when I first started in the hobby, in the White Dwarf magazine, they used to post up a map with every store in the UK. And I remember they had a special celebration when they got to 100 stores in the UK. And they also, on this list, they used to post up locations for the rest of the world. And honestly, back then, I think there were less than like 50 stores outside of the UK, if you can believe that. And now they're everywhere. Yes, I can see how some factions might not go down terribly well in certain parts of the world, if I'm honest with you. But hopefully that's an issue that can be, well, largely ignored, because it's such a niche thing. So I'm currently working on these models, and this is the test miniature that I painted up. So we are trying to get the whole range, or the whole army painted up to this approximate same standard. So I've got quite a way to go on these bad boys, because most of them are undercoated, and the blue is part way done, because I've only added like one layer onto the blue. Most of the hobbyists that visit the shop are above 30. Yeah, I can imagine it's I don't know if it's that sort of, I don't know if that sort of thing is viewed as a kid thing throughout the world, but I know certainly here in the UK it is widely regarded as a... I have primed them. They've all been primed. Let's see if... Yeah, so... these have been zenithal primed. So that's actually a really bad example, that model. This one is probably a better example. So they've all been primed up to this stage, which is they were sprayed black, then they were sprayed with a zenithal prime, which is a prime directly from above down onto the model in grey primer, and then they've been dry brushed in white to bring out some of these details. And then I go ahead and apply the blue, the yellow, the bone colour, and then work up from there. So they have all been primed. So, if you've been painting D&D miniatures, are you a D&D fan? It's similar to slap chop. Slap chop is the way you do that and then paint them purely with contrast paints, which are the very, very thin paint that you can paint on, and it sort of automatically picks out the details for you. It's a really, really nice way of painting. Don't be put off by the silly name that somebody's given it. It is actually quite a satisfying method of painting. Oh, well done, Majar. I'm glad to hear it. Whereabouts in the world are you? People say they don't, but yeah. Because I can imagine being out mowing today would be pretty toasty if you're aware. You know, in a decent central US. Wow, yeah, you're probably quite warm then, I would imagine. So what would it be in freedom units? We've had 26 today, which double it at 30, 50, about 80, 82, something like that. Weirdly enough, central US is about the one area of the US that outsiders never really hear about. So I don't actually know whether you're hot, cold, temperate. I don't know what you get. The only thing I know that's sort of roughly central to the US is the Rockies, but even that is set off to one side, isn't it? Oh, good. Well, I'm glad it's not bad. Suitable mowing temperature, anyway. I was just talking through the delights of different painting techniques with Deja, who we were just discussing whether or not slap chop should be consigned to the bin of history, or is the next best thing since sliced bread. Ah, fair enough. Good mowing weather then. I've done enough of it that I know being out there in the scorching heat is great for your tan, but certainly not good for the old hydration levels. I don't think people do hate it. They just see it as a cheat because they can't recognise that different people with different skill levels might not all look at a model in the same way. Some of them are going to look at a model and be absolutely put off by it. Others are going to look at it and think, oh, what a challenge. If you are not... I've just broken that. Damn. Somebody did ask me if I'd pinned that the other day, and I said, no, I didn't need to pin it. Oh well, that will glue back on quite easily. Yeah, that'll be alright. We can get that back on there. Where is my super glue? Hold that thought while I just see if we can repair this. Obviously not live on stream, we won't. So I'm going to pop this to one side and then just be very, very careful to try not to break the model. Yeah, slap chop is seen as a bit of a cheat by people. I don't personally see it that way. I think that if it gets rid of grey plastic, then it should only be praised. Everything that helps people paint away their pile of shame should really be praised. And if it looks amazing, then I'm proud of you. And if it looks terrible, then it just means that you need to get better. Because I have seen people do some really, really nice stuff. Well, I'm painting off to one side here and nobody can see what I'm doing. Look, I keep doing that. Right, now this is the bit where I've got to be really, really careful because he's only got one leg now. Eek. Now, should that all be yellow? I'm not going to paint it all yellow. I'm going to paint all of the rest of that in bone. There we go. Right. I do still need to paint these weapon shields as well. Thankfully, I can do that because they're not very small details, so I don't need to be holding the back of the model like this. I'm going to pop that to one side, let that dry so that I don't get I don't touch the hoof, and then I'm going to just pop a little bit more paint on my palette along with plenty of water. Too much water. And then we're going to paint in this hoof. We'll pick up the details on the weapon shield on the back of the War Walker. I love this War Walker model. It's possibly one of my favourite models from the Eldar range. It's just such a non-thing in in Warhammer 40k, just to have this sort of non-armoured thing, just a big spindly platform, just seems so incongruous with everything else in the universe. You know, even Tau, their walkers, are sort of heavy, bulging, armoured things, whereas this is just this spindly. It's almost like a grazing animal. I struggle to see. Yes, they call it a war walker, but I imagine there must be a function for war walkers in non-military. Maybe there isn't. Maybe there's none whatsoever. I'm imagining it like a sentinel powerlifter. Tau were not a thing in 2nd edition. Tau came out in 3rd. They had their first appearance in 3rd. So technically, as far as I'm aware, Tau don't exist. I don't acknowledge the existence of Tau. Right, pop that to one side, even though it's fallen off. I'll glue it back on. I am very much stuck in my ways, Majar. It's a generational thing when it comes to Warhammer. I do believe 3rd edition was actually a superior edition of the game to 2nd. It was a far quicker, more streamlined, a better rule set. You could play better games quicker with 3rd edition. But from then onwards, they lost quite a lot of the charm of Warhammer, to my mind. It became a sort of a race almost with the game rules to see if they could just sell more and more models, which is fair enough. It's a business. Hello. Hello. I'd love some, thank you. But it just lost some of the thing that made Warhammer fun. So consequently, I refuse to acknowledge anything after, really after 2nd edition. That's absolutely a excellent choice of way to be. What are you painting at the moment, Majar? What's on your hobby space? And likewise, as I say, if you have you are not a damn thing, last. Okay, all right. Tau can be a thing. As I said to Deja, if you have an Insta, feel free to pop a link up, and I can have a look at what you're doing. Oh man, that's a real nice thing to do. Was it a recent or Ooh, 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 ooh. Yeah, as I say, we have a I have Discord link and what have you below. Feel free if you want to drop in there with any of your miniature painting. At some point I will expand it out to other arts and the like, but for now it will just be the miniature painting. But feel free to pop up anything that you like into the other miniatures category until we expand it. This yellow is kind of very sort of light, very buttery yellow, but the coverage on it is actually really nice considering how thin we've got this. Damn it. And I mean, look at that, just the tiniest little scrape of it and we've managed to cover that blue quite comprehensively. You know, typically we didn't want to, but oh, excellent. At most places, it's not actually the law that you have to have everything painted before you can play a game. So just remember that. Although I don't know, perhaps in Israel it might be the case. God, could you imagine that? No, in Israel you can only play a game if your army is 3-coloured and based. No, it's true. It used to be a thing that in order to use your models in, at that time they used to be called, grey pile of shame. At that time they used to still be called Games Workshops, and it used to be a rule that in order to use your miniatures in the shops, they had to be painted 3 colours and based. And then Games Workshop realised that they could actually sell a whole load more miniatures if they would let people play with them unpainted. And since that time, thank you, you've been able to play in Games Workshop stores with unpainted miniatures, which I thought was a real cop-out. Because it did actually force people to paint and get rid of their pile of shame. But yeah. Excellent. Well, no, that's good. Long may it continue. Long may your opponents have painted miniatures. There really is something about fighting against and playing with a full army of painted miniatures. It's one... No blood angels. I'm sorry, what? I'm sorry, what? Space super vampires are not your favourite thing? Oh. It's okay. It's only because you haven't met any space wolves yet. Now that is some bullshit. But at least both of them aren't dark angels. That's all you've got to remember. Right, well, we're actually... Yeah, white scars are very cool, to be fair. White scars are very cool. I find the Khan a little bit troubling, but if only because of some of the racial stereotypes that it plays upon. But otherwise, yeah, no, I think the white scars are a very cool army. I'm not sure if you've had a go at it yet, but white is incredibly difficult to paint and make look good. So if you can pull that off, you're onto a winner. Weirdly, the white contrast paint is the most amazing thing you have ever seen. Honestly, grab yourself a tin of white spray and then just smash white contrast paint over everything, and it is just incredible what it does. It's probably the best contrast paint there is. Oh, I didn't take my time very much with this guy. He's got a little bit of a mould line there. And at this point in the project, I'm not sure there's a bit of a secret to contrast paint, and that is to don't let it pull. It needs to go on thick enough to do its works, but if you let it pull, it'll leave a bunch of staining behind. So if you mop it up, you can hopefully avoid that. It's a bit of a weird thing to try and use, but I highly recommend the white. I think it's very, very useful. Right. So all I've got now left to do, I say all I've got left now to do, I've got one weapons platform that needs its weapons shield done, so we will crack that one out. Crack that one out now. And then I've got my Viper. And I know it's a Friday, which does mean it's not a school night, which does mean I have more time to play. However, it has been quite a tough week, and like I say, I have been feeling a little bit under the weather still. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get this yellow finished, and then we can have a look at some of the models that we've done, see how they're looking now it's dried. And then I'm going to end the stream. So I've got this, and I've got a Viper. I do love the Viper model. It is such a fantastic model. So let's try and get these and the Viper done. I do have a scout squad left to do, but they have as yet not had their first coat of blue finished, so I'd like to try and get them done with the blue first before I then move on to a different colour. So let's try and get all of these guys to the same stage, and then that squad is sitting a little bit behind everyone else, so I'm going to probably try and do the blue on those off stream. Should I do anything off stream? I think all of it, the whole project start to finish, all done on stream would actually be a little bit of a selling point. So maybe I won't try and do anything off stream. I'll just keep cracking away, in which case the blue on those should probably be one of the next things I do. Otherwise they are really going to sit back in the schedule, because they're now behind a coat of blue and a coat of yellow, so I need to see what I can do with them. Right, another weapons platform done. Now let's get my favourite model, the Viper, and we'll see what we can do with him. Obviously this yellow is just a first coat at the moment. It is going to be slightly improved from what we have here right now. So let's have a look at this. Let's, yeah. That's quite nice with a bigger brush, being able to just capture a bit more of the model there in one pass without having to come back constantly and be topping up. And it helps you to get quite a nice smooth paint application on there as well. Right, now let's see if we can get a little bit of paint on his face mask. What? Right, let's go. Right, ignore that bit back there. A little bit on his face mask, a little bit down here. Did I just put my finger in that? I don't know. And then a little bit on this side. Now, I am thinking about doing something a little bit more special for the canopy on this one. I'd like the canopy on it to be yellow as well, but possibly with a hex pattern. I don't know if that's really going to be possible. Let's have a look and see what we can achieve with it. I think it should be possible if we are quite cautious about how thickly we apply anything. So I'm thinking when it comes to trying to do a hex pattern, what we want to do is apply it with something like contrast paint, heavily thinned down. So it is very, very thin, goes on nicely. And what we'll do is, so we'll paint this canopy in. Now, this canopy should maybe not, maybe I have painted it into, hey, there we go. I didn't glue it. I'm not going to paint the inside, that's not getting done. And it has stripped off some paint. It did seal itself with paint, unfortunately. If we're very, very careful, we won't knock that off. And we can do this. It's only this side that I wanted it off for. I'll let you in on a little secret. I don't know if you can tell that from that. That is 3D printed. Because sometimes these little things just go missing. Can't be helped, accident, they get lost, whatever the reason. And don't tell James Workshop, but there are some secret special places on the internet where you can get 3D printed, scanned, whatever, copies of Eldar Viper jet bike canopies. Oh, honestly, when that piece came out on a Games Workshop miniature, oh, it nearly set the world alight. Do you know what the most amazing thing about it was? And I don't know if it's still a part of the Viper model, or this canopy model rather. The little hologram inset on the inside, that was just incredible. And the way the studio team, when they painted it, they ran a little piece of a little bit of watery red paint into it, and then wiped off the excess, so that it looked like a heads-up display. Because there's a little carved piece on the inside of it. It's fantastic. Like I say, I still remember that when it came out. But before then, I don't think there had been clear plastic on any Games Workshop miniatures. I think that was a first. Anybody think of anything before the Viper that had clear plastic? I can't think of anything. It was all just standard tanks before the Viper. I didn't need to take that off. I could have done that with it in situ. It's made a little bit of a crease around here, but we'll kind of make it work. Right, I'm going to pop that to one side. I need to apply a couple of coats of this yellow on most places, just to get it looking nice and even. Then, as I say, we'll come along with a bit of, I think we used a Yanden yellow over the whole yellow. No, not over the whole. We will selectively apply it in order to get the shade right. And then we'll come along with our new Army Painter colour Demonic Yellow, which I do love. I think it's a beautiful colour. And do some highlights on it. But that is for another stream, because, ladies and gents, we have reached the end of our Friday stream. Yes, I've got a little bit of work to do in between, and tomorrow I am off D&Ding. So tomorrow I am not sure whether or not I'm going to have it in me in order to stream. If I don't, I will post a message up on the Discord to let you know, but then I will be back on Sunday instead. So you will get me over this weekend. It will either be tomorrow, fingers crossed, or Sunday. I'd like to do tomorrow if I can, because then it leaves me Sunday free, where I don't need to think about streaming in the evening, because I will be out during the day seeing lots and lots of lovely trains with my daughter, because there's a showcase day at our local historic railway. Should be a lot of fun for me anyway. Fingers crossed that the little one doesn't die of boredom, but it's nice to get out of the house during half term. Right, folks, it has been a pleasure. Thank you very much, Majar, for joining us. Thank you very much, Deja. It's been much appreciated. I do hope to see you on the next one, which, as I say, will be either tomorrow or Sunday at 8 o'clock UK time. Until then, have a great evening and take care. Toodaloo, folks.